Hey guys, Adam here from ZFG Racing. I just wanted to jump on here and give you guys a little update on Nathan's white truck. If you guys remember a little bit back, we did a video on his 700 horsepower Ranger Raptor that was utilizing the Garrett PowerMax turbos that TurboBay went and upgraded. And one of the things I mentioned in that video that we were planning on doing was trying out a smaller compressor wheel. I felt like there was a little bit too much turbo leg, although the top end power was fantastic. In this type of truck and this type of application, you definitely want some more of that download torque. We had Matt from TurboBay do something a little bit different for us, and the specs on that compressor are 42.5 millimeter inducer by 58 millimeter exducer, and it's a 6-blade compressor. That got us back a lot of our spool. So I'm going to show you a couple dyno charts here, a couple different ways to look at this. The first one's going to be the end results. Basically, we ended up at 710 horsepower and 714 foot-pounds of torque on E85, which was E70-ish at the time. And then also on 93 octane, which was E10, we put down 552 horsepower and 619 foot-pounds. Well, you can see this power band, even without looking at it compared to anything else, you can tell it's a lot better. So we're making over 500 foot-pounds at 3,500 RPM and around 480 foot-pounds at 3,000 RPM. So way better, way more usable for the truck. But this is part of the R&D process, right? You don't always hit a home run the first time. So let's jump over to this graph and we'll take a look here. This is going to be the old version of the turbos versus the new version of the turbos. And the new version, the smaller version, is in the blue and the older version is in the red. So basically here you can see that we shifted our torque curve back almost 1,000 RPMs. So we got all of that spool back and all of that torque download back, and we did give up a little bit of top end. Now personally, I think it's worth it. You know, horsepower wise, it's still around the same number, but this is also a good example of how that number can mean different things. So on the newer turbos, we're making 710 horsepower at 5,700 RPM, where the older turbos didn't make peak power until over 6,500 RPM. Basically, I think the trade-off is worth it here. I definitely think that this is probably how these turbos should have came from Garrett to begin with. They give up 0 spool over the off-the-shelf version of the Garrett, and realistically, when we jump over here and look at this versus a stock tune, first of all, the power gap is obviously tremendous. I mean, it's crazy to think that we've pretty much essentially over doubled the wheel horsepower here on a stock engine. Obviously it's not a stock transmission at this point in time, and it's, you know, has all the bolt-ons to support this, but it's crazy to see this kind of power gain and this kind of usable power gain. Now, this is the stock file that I could find for this truck. I do think, based on looking at it, that they were maybe tipping in a little bit late there. So it may not be 100% representative of the spool, but overall, I don't think we really lost anything spool-wise, even compared to the stock turbos, which is good. Now, back when we were doing the development with Garrett on these turbos, I did strongly recommend that they have 2-size compressor wheels, because this turbo was originally designed and kind of built around the 2.7 Bronco. And it was started before they had even announced that there was going to be a Raptor version of the Bronco, let alone a Raptor version of the Ranger in the US. Initially, they sized the turbo based on that, and I think they did a good job for the 2.7 liter. It makes a lot of sense. But realistically, when you try to put that same turbo on a 3 liter, it's just not big enough. It's only a millimeter bigger. Yes, we've made 650 plus horsepower with the right intake, with the right fueling, with all that stuff, but typically you're not going to get there unless you're really working the turbos and you really have all of the stuff set up for it. So honestly, if you're going to put these turbos on your Ranger Raptor, I have a hard time recommending that you just use the off-the-shelf version. It is going to give you a little bit of horsepower, 30, 40, 50 horsepower over what your truck could have made to begin with, depending on how how many bolt-ons you have, and things like the intake and stuff make a huge difference here. It's varying degrees of worth it. They are a better turbo than the factory, but at the price point that they're at, I can't say that they're entirely worth the dollar per horsepower that I would be looking for. But now, if you're willing to buy these turbos and send them off to TurboBay and have this upgraded compressor wheel put on it, I think this is definitely the way to go. It's not that expensive to have Matt do that, and it does a lot of things for you, and it does a lot of things for the longevity of the turbos, because even to make stock numbers or stock turbo turned up numbers, you have to work those turbos pretty hard, and you're pretty close to the speed margin. But I like to keep it at or under the speed margin and not exercise any of that extra safety factor. So long and short of it is, I think this is definitely the way to go, and I'm excited to get these on more trucks and definitely keep going down this road. If you guys would like to purchase these turbos, you can get them through Nathan Dirt Derrick through his website, or you can contact Matt at TurboBay. You can also buy the off-the-shelf version of the Garretts directly from us, and we can send them right to Matt if you would like. Just hit up sales@tunedbyzfgracing.com for that. So anyway, let's get to some of the dyno videos, and that's going to do it for this video. I'm not going to do a separate outro for it. We're just going to roll right to the dyno clips. See you guys next time.